Taking revenge in the Wild West wasn't just about getting even. It blended justice with survival, heroism with brutality. Today's stories will show you how far men would go when pushed to their breaking point. Geronimo was a medicine man and war leader of the Beroncoje Band, born in 1829. His world changed forever in March 1851 when he returned to his camp near Llanos, Mexico. What he found there would haunt him for life. As he later wrote, "Late one afternoon when returning from town, we were met by a few women and children. These survivors brought terrible news. Mexican soldiers had struck while the men were away. They'd killed the guards, stolen all the horses, destroyed their supplies, and slaughtered many women and children. The survivors gathered secretly at night by the river. One by one, they crept to their meeting spot. When Geronimo counted the living, his heart broke. His elderly mother was dead. His young wife was dead. All three of his small children were gone forever. That night, Geronimo's heart filled with a burning need for revenge against Mexico. He wouldn't rest until he got it. For the next 30 years, he led raids against Mexican settlements and troops. His warriors became legends of terror across the border. The town of Mata Ortiz stands as proof of Geronimo's fury. It's named after Mexican commander Juan Mata Ortiz, who fought the Apache at places like Tres Castillos in 1880. According to stories, Geronimo captured this commander and burned him alive on a hill overlooking the very town that now bears his name. When news of Custer's defeat at Little Bighorn reached the frontier in June 1876, William Buffalo Bill Cody decided someone had to pay. 1 month later, he claimed he took the first scalp for Custer. This wasn't some barroom boast. It happened at Warbonnet Creek on July 17, 1876. Cody was riding with a cavalry unit when they ran into about 200 Cheyenne warriors. In the fighting that followed, Cody found himself face to face with a warrior called Hay-O-Way, or Yellow Hair. Cody's gun spoke first. Yellow Hair dropped dead. Then, according to Cody's own account, he did something that would make him famous and infamous at the same time. He scalped the man and made his famous cry. But Cody didn't stop there. He turned this moment of brutal revenge into entertainment. Night after night in his Wild West show, he reenacted the scalping of Yellow Hair for cheering crowds. Eventually, even Cody seemed to realize he'd gone too far. He quietly removed the scalping scene from his show. When reporters asked him about it later, he said, "He was the only Indian I ever scalped. I did not believe in scalping." Clay Allison came west after serving under General Nathan Bedford Forrest in the Civil War. Born around 1840 in Tennessee, he'd already earned a reputation for brutality, drinking, and pranking those around him. By the mid-1870s, Allison had made himself into a one-man vigilante force. He decided what was right and wrong, then enforced his version of justice with bullets and rope. When Reverend F.J. Tolby got murdered, Allison joined the hunt for the killer Cruz Vega, the man believed to have killed Tolby. Tolby's friends and fellow preacher McMains suspected Cruz Vega had been spotted near where Tolby died. McMains gathered a mob of masked men, including Allison, and they grabbed Vega and strung him up on a telegraph pole. But Vega had friends too. Francisco Griego swore he'd make Allison pay for what happened to Vega. When Griego and his men confronted the gunfighter, lids started flying. Griego was killed, and Allison was stripped off every piece of clothing he wore. He tied a red ribbon around the dead man's private parts, then danced naked around the corpse. When authorities arrested him for killing Griego, they ruled it self-defense and let him go. Stories about Allison's crazy behavior spread like wildfire. People said he once yanked a tooth right out of a dentist's mouth because the man had pulled the wrong tooth from Allison. Others claimed he faced down famous lawmen like Wyatt Earp and Bat Masterson. One tale had him riding his horse through the streets of Mobeetie, Texas, wearing nothing but his gun belt. Dallas Stenmire became El Paso's marshal in April 1881, and trouble found him before his first week was over. The man was tough as nails and didn't back down from anyone, which made him plenty of enemies real fast. The problems started with Bill Johnson, who'd been serving as deputy marshal before Staudenmire arrived. When the new marshal asked Johnson to hand over the jail keys, Johnson flat out refused. Stenmire then grabbed Johnson, flipped him upside down, and shook him until the keys fell out of his pockets. But before Johnson could get his revenge, other trouble erupted. Town Constable Gus Krempkow got into it with John Hale, a friend of former Marshal George Campbell. Hale shot and killed Krempkow, but before he died, Krempkow got off a few shots that found their mark in Campbell. When the smoke cleared, 3 men lay dead. Campbell's friends blamed Stenmire and swore they'd make him pay. Johnson made his move on April 17, 1881. He climbed up on the bank building, or maybe hid behind some bricks, and took aim at the marshal. His shot missed, but Stenmire's didn't. The lawman put 8 bullets Johnson's way, and at least one of them hit Johnson right between the legs, completely destroying his manhood. Nobody knows for sure why John Johnson hated the Crow people so much, but the stories say they killed his wife and child. What we do know is that Johnson spent years hunting Crow warriors, and when he caught them, he did something that earned him a nickname that still chills people today: Liver-Eating Johnson. After killing a Crow warrior, he'd scalp the man, then cut into his chest and eat the liver while it was still warm. Witnesses said he'd snap off the scalp, carve under the ribs, and eat the dripping liver, again and again. Johnson reportedly killed hundreds of Crow warriors this way. He wouldn't touch any other tribes, just the Crow. His reputation grew so fierce that the Blackfeet eventually captured him, planning to sell the Crow killer to their enemies. Johnson managed to escape, but his legend was already carved in blood. Jefferson Turner was living in Texas during the 1830s. He'd moved from Kentucky with his wife, built a home in Lavaca County, and was raising 3 sons. Then one morning changed everything. Turner went into the woods as usual, leaving his family safe at home. But when he heard gunshots, he knew something was terribly wrong. He ran back toward his house, fearing the worst. What he found when he got there would drive him to become one of the frontier's most feared killers. His wife lay dead on the floor, still clutching their youngest boy in her arms. She'd died trying to protect him. His 2 older sons were nearby, also dead and scalped. The attackers were still there, and they came at Turner when they saw him. Somehow, he managed to escape and make it to a neighbor's house. That day, Jefferson Turner died inside. What was left was something else entirely. Years later, he told author J.W. Wilbarger, "10 years ago, I was as happy a man as any in the world, but now I'm miserable, except when I'm waylaying and scalping an Indian. It's the only comfort I have now." Turner became known as the Indian Hater. He'd sworn to collect 100 scalps before he died. When Wilbarger interviewed him, Turner had already taken 46 scalps. He kept them hanging in his camp like grisly trophies, a constant reminder of the family he'd lost and the revenge he'd sworn to complete.